Hello my friends, how are you? Today I'm going to present Unit 29, Materials Development and Teacher Training. My lesson plan has 4 parts. First, information about materials. Second, difficulties that teachers face with finding and using materials in their classes. Third, some examples for teachers training. And last, I'm going to give some advices for the teachers who are going to use materials in their classes. Let's start. I have 2 questions. First, let me ask you this one. What is materials? Yes, this is a question you have to answer, but I don't want to take all your time, so let me answer. Basically, anything which is used to stimulate language and language learning can be considered as materials. So, what type of or what kind of materials do we use in our classes? There are lots of. It can be written texts, it can be literature, it can be audio, it can be video, or it can be pictures. A lot of teachers either want to or need to write their own materials, maybe particularly English as second language teacher, because of the lack of resources. If you want to be a better teacher, there are some courses, but if you want to provide some materials, mostly you have to prepare by yourself. So this is the first difficulty. And it's been said, our goal as language teachers is to improve the quality of experience in the classroom. And if we think in that way, or to teach them, that includes being challenged, that includes having your creativity stimulated. All of those improves quality of experience. And this kind of activities that using materials make us rethink our assessment practicing. It's also true that all of us work under particular constraints. My assumption is that every teacher has a little bit free time in a week or in a day, anyway, when he or she can do something that he or she should chooses to do rather than has been imposed to them. So, first, we have that room for maneuver. Some others have more, some others have less, but at least we have some. The other thing is, any teacher wants to grow and develop, but crucial question is, what direction do you want to go? We are all slightly frustrated by our contexts, sometimes very frustrated, but each of us has a room to think differently. Another question can be how we are going to evaluate assessment practices. So there are lots of problematic areas, difficulties, and in these difficulties we have to solve many problems. One more. Many teachers are afraid of literature for a number of reasons. Anyway, one is that when you say literature, we tend to think about the classics. In English, we want to think about Shakespeare, but it is not true. It is wrong. So, after this coming presentation, I am going to give you an example about literature, how we can use literature in our material classrooms. So, let me show you this picture. It is a computer game picture. So it has 3 workers, a scout, and a town center. So it is Age of Empire. Do you know that game? Yes, sure. You have to. Yes. So this is the basic material we are going to use. It presents the materials we are using in our classroom. So what is the thought behind, that we are going to use this. At the end, we want to see that picture. But it is difficult to go in that way, through that way. Anyway, I want to share 2 internet sites. One of them is eltresourceful.com and the other one is www.carlaumn.edu. Both internet sites are teachers trainers, so you can easily find some details in these internet sites. After showing these internet sites, let's change the topic. I'm going to give some examples for teachers training. As I told you, I will give you some examples about how to use literature in the classrooms. First example is Ernest Hemingway. So as I told you, 20th and 21st century literature is often find a better place to look for texts which are accessible even to every fairly low-level learners in the classroom. In the poetry, but especially in the poetry, we have to choose the simple ones. As an example, Ernest Hemingway, as using literature in the classroom, think about this paragraph. Let's read it. She won't die, she's just having a bad time. The initial labor is usually procreated. She's only having a bad time. Afterward, we'll say, what a bad time, and Catherine would say, it wasn't really so bad. It goes like this. In all of the Ernest Hemingway stories, short stories, novels, he used simple, short phrases. So even for the beginner levels, it's useful. Don't use Shakespeare in your classrooms, but you can use this kind of writers. Our purpose is teaching language. That is what we want to do. We don't need to lead our learners to understand the text in a particular way. We can use the text for our students to engage with the written or spoken word, or we can use to encourage their own forms of creativity. Another one, food and eating. This topic is about, imagine that you are losing weight. You are closing your eyes and thinking you are losing your weight. Isn't it an attractive topic? So if we use some literature in our lessons, we have to attract, we have to catch their, let's say, focus point. We have to push them to use their imagination. Because of that, our topics should be interesting. Our topics should be attractive. My last part of the presentation, advices. So this is a formula and I love this formula. Do you know that? I will use these letters for my formula, so just avoid to use these topics in your classroom. First, avoid to use politics in your classroom. Alcohol, religion, sex, narcotics, isms, and pork. So maybe you have some confusion about the last two. ism is, you know, communism, ism, lots of things that takes suffix as ism at the last part of the word. And pork, so actually this pork is not the pig that we know, pig meat, no. It's a kind of government maneuver to gain votes. They invest in some parts, they give money, and because of that voters give their votes. So this kind of investments comes from the government. So we are not going to use, we have to avoid this kind of topics. If you have some questions to me, please inform me. I can easily answer.